All right. Let's see. What's a good list of games that are coming out?
I mean, I've been anticipating a bunch of games, so I can give you a good set of games for the next coming months.
Well, let's see. I right now I have Modern Warfare 3, Ico and Shadow of the Colossus, and what's the other one? Uh,
Here, I'm gonna get my serious paper out.
oh, Deus Ex.
That one has a drawing on it. So what? Okay. Let's see. From what off the top of my head, Modern Warfare 3, Battlefield 3. I mean, recently came out Dead Island, which kind of was like for certain bugs, but I don't know. It didn't really have that my attention as much as it had other people's attention. I know Resistance 3 just came out, as well as Driver.
Which looks amazing.
Then there's Skyrim, of course. Uncharted 3. Assassin's Creed Revelations. WWE SmackDown. I mean, WWE 12. Professional. Most of these games are like all November. Bioshock Infinite.
Yeah.
Mass Effect 3. Borderlands 2.
Yep.
You had the Ico collection, the God of War Origin.
Yeah, God of War Origins, and Deus Ex, which just came out a little bit ago
Deus.
that I had.
I'm gonna put Infamous in there just because it's not that old.
No, it's not.
I don't know if you
Seems
want
new
to put
me.
Portal in there. That's kind of
That's kind of old.
with Little Big Planet 2 and stuff.
Yeah, I think everyone that's wanted Portal 2 has already beaten it. So.
Yeah, and how about a little list of things that you would like to surprise you or you expect?
Well, Portal 3 wouldn't be bad. That probably wouldn't be
I
anytime
think it's too
soon.
soon for that.
Yeah, that wouldn't be anytime soon though. Little Big Planet 3, maybe.
Maybe when did the first one came out? What, 07? 08?
And Little Big Planet 2 came out
Actually, it came out 09.
year?
Little Big Planet 2 came out this year.
Yeah.
So probably another 2 years, Little Big Planet 3 would come out. But the world's gonna end this year. Next year. So
I don't think anyone else cares, but I'd like to see a new Castlevania that doesn't suck as much.
I don't know if that's ever gonna happen.
Castlevania, this new Castlevania, which I can't think of the name at the moment, wasn't horrible. It's actually pretty fun, but it's just not. I don't like the setup of it. I want like a classic Castlevania feel, but on PS3. I would actually love to see a PSN downloadable game that was like a side-scrolling Castlevania, like a classic remake of the old Castlevanias. I would eat that up. That'd be awesome.
There's only a few companies that I can think of that would be able to make a good Castlevania. A lot of them, surprisingly, not so surprisingly, come from PSN.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Sucker Punch or even Santa Monica Studios itself that make God of War and stuff, they can do one. But I don't want it to seem too much like God of War either.
No. Oh, another game that's coming out, The Run.
Oh, Need for Speed.
That looks good. That's about all I can think of. Maybe Darksiders 2. Is that already?
That's coming out.
That's coming out. I
Doesn't
thought so.
it looks interesting because it's a new guy, Death.
That's right. That's right. It's Death.
And he looks like me with a mask. He's got like the long hair and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But I think the fact that they're kind of working on it for the Wii as well, the Wii U, they're probably gonna dumb it down a lot.
Yeah.
And the graphics especially, because the graphics look really like old.
You know, it makes me sad that, you know, as soon as we see a game come out for the Wii U, we already know it's going to be garbage.
I mean,
Like,
it's the fact that they only support themselves. They only support their own games.
yeah, I mean,
Now there's games that are trying to go on the Wii U to to try third party support, but it's going to be garbage because
yeah.
it's never worked in the past.
Just it makes me sad that Nintendo is like the bastard child of the gaming world now. Like, if it's going to Nintendo, then we just give up on it. Whereas it used to be the complete opposite. It used to be we waited for good games to make it to Nintendo. You know?
I mean, I think that the one thing that killed Nintendo is the fact that they lost Rare, which made all those damn hits
Yeah.
from GoldenEye to Banjo Kazooie to I burped. To to all almost every game that you loved back on 64 was either Nintendo only or Rare,
Yeah.
which was under Nintendo. They actually had that company, but once they let them go to Xbox, it died on the Xbox, and every game got kind of screwed on the Wii. I think the fact that they just made themselves one-dimensional and being just a Wii with motion controls instead of trying to be motion controls as a secondary like PS3 and Xbox,
Yeah.
that kind of killed them. That handicapped them a lot because if you didn't like motion controls, you weren't gonna like any of their games
Well,
as much.
what they should have done is they should have gone. They tried to be different. Is what they tried to do. What they should have done was they tried to be the same.
Sometimes being different's not always the.
Yeah, they should have tried to just be the same, but then have Nintendo characters. You know what I mean? Like the GameCube is a perfect example. There was the Xbox, PlayStation 2, and the GameCube. Well, the GameCube was no different than the PS3 and the Xbox, other than Mario was on it, and that's why we bought it. You know, I mean,
Yeah, they actually had good games for it and stuff like that.
yeah, we looked at the GameCube. We saw Mario, we saw Sonic, we saw Samus, and we saw Super Smash Brothers, and we said, why not buy it? You know, whereas now it's like
they made those characters. They made the obviously those
Yeah.
global synonymous people that you see everywhere that you always attribute to games. And then when the Wii was coming out, they just like, you know what? Can you continue to do what you're doing with one leg?
yeah.
Because I think you're pretty good with just one leg. Let's see how you do.
And, it makes me sad that they tried to be different because they had such a good run already. The Nintendo systems are, I think, honestly better than Sony's or Microsoft systems because, first of all, they last longer. I've yet to replace a Nintendo system ever in my entire life. I still have my original Nintendo, I still have my original N64, and I still have my original GameCube. I've yet to have one break. I still have my original DS, I still have my original Game Boy. I haven't had a single Nintendo thing that I own break except controllers. And whereas I've gone through, I think, 4 PS2s, 2 PS3s. I still actually have my old PS1, but it doesn't work right. So I think that Nintendo has. I think a lot of people think that PS3 and Xbox just blew Nintendo out of the water, but I disagree. I think if they would have made the Wii not motion controlled, and if they would have just made the Wii a normal game system like the PS3 and the Xbox, I think it'd be right up there.
I think if when the Wii decided to become motion control, they blew themselves out of the water. They blew themselves out of competition.
Mm-hmm.
If they would have just made themselves a GameCube with motion controls and maybe a little bit better graphics, they would have been another game I would have had alongside the PS3.
And plus,
because for me, the PS3 that got me was always the exclusives, and two game consoles that had exclusives was going to be anything for me.
Yeah, and plus, what was the big thing that everyone was complaining about when PS3 and Xbox 360 came out? The price. Absolutely. That's what everybody was talking about. It was way too expensive. And Nintendo is notorious for their cheap systems. Like, no matter what, Nintendo has always been the cheap, secondary. If you couldn't afford the PS3, you were getting the...
In this case, I think you buy what you get.
Yeah.
Because the Wii wasn't exactly the best bargain this time around. And obviously the PS3 was overpriced, but especially now where the prices is as low as most competition, it's kind of like, you know what?
Yeah.
PS3 and Xbox started getting my vote because the Wii it's not doing that great. And then when they had the 3DS, that didn't do too well, not because of the 3D concept, but because they didn't really have any games coming out for it.
Yeah. But I think
all the stuff was late.
I think if Nintendo would have made a cheaper version of the PS3, Xbox 360 back when they were coming out and sold it, they would have been greatest system ever. You know what I mean? Like the PS3 and the Xbox were way too expensive. People were going to the Wii. A lot of people went to the Wii even though they didn't like it because it was cheaper. The Wii had more sales than the PS3 and the Xbox 360 if you look at it back
Yeah, I
then.
mean, the thing though with that is that the Wii was able to sell it for so cheap because their hardware and everything wasn't that great. Obviously, you can tell that the PS3 has better hardware than the Wii and all that stuff, HD and all the stuff. But even that, it hasn't really affected Nintendo too much. But with the Wii really getting like a bad rep, they actually have people at Nintendo losing their money now and taking pay cuts just because they sell it for so cheap, and they're not getting any of the money anymore because people don't want the Wii. They just want an old school Nintendo.
Yeah.
And now with the Wii U, I think they can kind of get themselves back up there because they actually have a controller a controller that actually looks like a controller more, even if it has it still needs the nunchuck and all that stuff. But slowly but surely, I think they need to realize that controller started the revolution of gaming. I think it should end that way.
Yeah.
Not go into motion controls. Nobody really wants to get up, especially when you're coming from school or work and you're like, you know what, let's play some games. You're not going to want to stand up and jump around your house. You're just going to want to sit down and enjoy your favorite games on your favorite console. And the Wii kind of overshot what people expected. And they just went for more of a family friendly when the people that buy their systems are all these hardcore gamers.
Definitely. And I do have some high hopes for the 3DS though because it just looks awesome. I mean, and we don't really have any other good handheld systems except the PSP, and I've never really enjoyed the PSP that much, but that's just me. But anyways, we're completely off topic. We're supposed to be talking about future games, and we're talking about the Wii
This
for the
just came
past
out of nowhere.
7
It
minutes.
was like a tornado that randomly appeared.
Yeah. The wild Nintendo Wii appeared.
Interestingly enough, this whole time that we were talking about the Wii, I was playing with Legos.
Were you really? I was playing with my cord.
Yeah, I have to hear. I don't know if you can hear them, but I was playing with Legos.
I want to go grab some Mega Blocks now and make me a fort.
I love Mega Blocks. Those were the real good Legos.
Yes, they were awesome.
The ones I don't like though were the tiny ones too much, just because you needed skill to learn how to use them, and I was a kid, so I was like, just give me the big ass ones so I can make rocket ships.
Yep.
I want you to go into that Toys R Us store. I want you to find the biggest, ginormous box you can find and bring it to me. I'm gonna have days of enjoyment when I build a shelter out of those giant blocks.
Yep. I'm watching Shrek 2. And the pigs are...
If you want to talk about Shrek, I can tell you right now, I think Shrek 1 was the best.
I liked the new Shrek. Anyways, games, right. Video games, those things that people play.